समझ में आ रहा है? So that is why first complete 2 to 3 sections so that you are able to solve the question, all the 3 statements, right? चलो अभी तक any doubt, any general thing, because now we are moving towards our first topic, that is the size, extent and location of India. And we'll see towards the end of this lecture that how beautifully UPSC frames questions out of such basic topics also. It is a complete factual topic, but how you have to develop interlinkages we'll see towards the end with the help of a PYQ mains. Okay, any question till now, just go ahead, otherwise we'll move forward. In your notebook, you will draw the diagram which I am going to draw at one page, and you will write the things which I will tell you on the other page. Okay? So first we'll understand with the help of a diagram about the India's location, and then we'll write the facts which we have. So the lecture will go in this manner, that first I will tell you the concept, first we will understand the concept, after that I will dictate the things. Okay, so when I am telling you the concept, you need not to write the things, just have your 100% focused on the board. Okay. So suppose this is a rough map of India. Is it visible? There, I guess, अभी वो glaring वाला problem तो नहीं है ना? Excess glare. Okay, it is visible. Fine. So first question from my side, if I am talking about, let's say 70° east, this is a term. So 70° east will be the latitude or the longitude? Longitude. Longitude. Suppose 8° south will be latitude or longitude? Latitude. Yeah. Longitude. Latitude. See, we know that latitudes are the horizontal lines, right? So if latitudes are the horizontal lines, this is telling you what? That this line is towards the north and this line is towards the south. Okay. If longitudes are the vertical lines, so these lines are telling you what? That this line is towards east and this line is towards west. So that is why when we have to talk about the longitudes, they are always have a reference with respect to the east and west direction. When we have to talk about the latitudes, they have a reference of north and south. That is why when we see equator is a 0° latitude. So in climatology, you must have heard that the highest temperature of the oceans is found at which region? Highest temperature? Equatorial region. Okay, tell me the latitudes. The range of latitudes. So 10° north, 10° north to 10° south. No. 8 to 10° north, not the south, because northern latitudes will be having higher temperature compared to the southern latitudes. Equatorial region is correct, that equatorial region is from 10° north to 10° south. Okay, so let's say this is a 10° north latitude, this is a 10° south latitude, and here you are having the equator. So equatorial region is correct, it is from 10° north to 10° south. But in oceanography, you must have read that when we compare the northern hemisphere with the southern hemisphere, which region has higher temperature? North hemisphere or south? Northern hemisphere. What is the reason for this? Presence of more land. Yes, presence of more land. Okay. So in this region also, the northern part will be having relatively more temperature na, vis-a-vis the southern part. So that is why if the question is asked that which regions are the experience higher temperature in oceans, it is 8 to 10 degree north of equator. So these are what latitudes, see, north and south, right? Tropic of Cancer is what a latitude, 23.5 degree north. Tropic of Capricorn latitude, 23.5 degrees south. Are you getting it? When we talk about India's standard meridian, IST, Indian Standard Time Meridian, it is what 82 degree 30 east longitude. We'll cover all these things. ठीक है, पहले ये इतना क्लियर है कि longitudes are west and east, latitudes are north and south, just the basic things. Okay. Yeah. So now if I have to, with the help of the longitudes and latitudes, so this will be the northernmost latitude of India. Okay. Visible है सबको? Is it visible to everyone? Okay. So this will be the northernmost latitude. This will be the southernmost latitude. When we have to talk about the southernmost latitude of India, what is the catch? Here you are having Andaman and Nicobar Islands also. So when we talk about India's mainland, so the southernmost location is what? Kanyakumari. And we talk in general that it is 8 degree 4 north latitude. Right? But when we go towards the southernmost point of India as a whole, so it is the Indira point. Are you getting it? Right? So Indira point is basically having the latitude of what? 6 degree 45 minutes. Right? The northernmost latitude, that is in the Ladakh, now Ladakh region, is what? 37 degree 6 minutes north. Right? So after the division of J&K, we all know that somewhat this is the division. Okay, so here you are having J&K and here you are having Ladakh. Right? So the northernmost point of India, here the southernmost point of India's mainland is what? Kanyakumari. The northernmost point of India is what? Indira Koal. ठीक है, इतना क्लियर है? Okay, so this is the latitudinal expanse of India. Now if we have to talk about the longitudinal extent of India, so it is basically (68 degree 7 east longitude). Right? Going toward the easternmost point of India, that is Arunachal Pradesh, it is 97 degree 25 minutes east longitude. Right? The town which is the easternmost town is Kithibu, Arunachal, in Ajnor district. Right? ठीक है? Just the factual informations, will come to the analytical part later on. Okay. Here the westernmost location is Ghor Moti village, the westernmost village of India. After that, Pakistan. Now, here there is a mistake which is deliberately made. What is the mistake? Generally, we tend to draw the Indian map in this perspective, that is, the southern Gujarat region is towards the western part. Okay. But the westernmost section of the Gujarat is the upper Gujarat, that is the Kutch region. So, this should be like this. Right? This Ghaurmoti village is why located in the district of Kutch, not the southern Gujarat. Okay. Now you have what? Tropic of Cancer. Tropic of Cancer passes like this. This is 23.5 degree north. That is Tropic of Cancer. Tropic of Cancer, while passing through India, passes through which states? Here, obviously, one is Gujarat, right? Then Rajasthan, if you have to see the location, the map of the Rajasthan, it is somewhat like this. So it passes through Rajasthan also. Okay. So here, Rajasthan. Then the central state, that is MP. You remember the map, na? Political. I hope that you are aware about the location of states in India. है ना, वो बेसिक चीज तो पता है ना. ठीक है. So first Gujarat, then Rajasthan, then MP, then comes what? Chhattisgarh. Then comes what? Jharkhand. Then comes what? West Bengal. And then the two northeastern states. Out of the 7 sisters, there are 2 states. Which one? Tripura and Mizoram. So total number of states through which Tropic of Cancer is passing in India is 8. ठीक है, right? Okay. Last important line when it comes to India is this one. Now this is what? India IST, India's standard time, the standard meridian of India. Meridian is also a word used for longitudes, right? So this is 82 degree 30 minutes east longitude. So because in India we are having just one time zone and hence we are having just one standard meridian, all the clocks in India are with reference to the IST. What is the practical relevance of standard time? See, because when we see the east west or the north south extent of India, it is roughly around 30 degrees. Okay, from here see 68 degrees, or yahan par you are having around 8 degrees, and from this to this. Okay, so it is 30 degree variation is there. We all know that sun rises in the east. So when we compare Arunachal Pradesh, let's say this easternmost corner with the westernmost corner, the sun will rise in the easternmost corner of India around 2 hours early compared to the westernmost. ठीक है, तो दैट इज वाई अब टाइम अलग हो जाएगा. इन द ईस्टर्न मोस्ट कॉर्नर वहां पे 4 बजे हो जाएंगे, सब उठ जाएंगे, गुड मॉर्निंग. बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू द वेस्टर्न मोस्ट कॉर्नर, यहां पे द सन राइज विल बी अराउंड समवॉट 6:30. तो नाउ हाउ यू हैव टू, let's say, align the office timings. If there is a department which is working in the northeast India, and then there is a department which is working in Kutch here, let's say you are a DM posted in Kutch and your batchmate, the DM, is posted in the northeastern corner, and you have to talk over a call. So कैसे चलेगा? वो तो 4 बजे चला जाएगा ऑफिस, और ये 6:30 बजे भी नहीं जाएगा ऑफिस. So that is why India thought that we'll have a one standard time. Okay. So everything will work according to it. If there are train schedules, if there are flight schedules, there has to be a one standard time. That standard time will be based on this particular longitude. Okay. Now from this, another two important facts, just the basic facts. When we are talking about time, we talk about longitudes, right? When we have to talk about seasons or climate or weather, we talk about latitudes, है ना? Because we say that tropical areas are hot, humid areas. Temperate areas are the cold. So tropical and temperate are what? Latitudinal regions. Are you getting it? You must have understood this fact also, that because the Earth axis is tilted and the solar radiations are inclined at different angles at different latitudes, hence because the intensity is different. Now because the Earth is also revolving around the sun, so in first 6 months there is a north pole which is towards the sun, then in the next 6 months ये सारा हो गया है ना पहले. Okay, so that is why when we have to talk about climate, latitudes, when we have to talk about time, longitudes. Another aspect of India's location which we need to understand is equator is passing through this region. Okay, this is 0 degree latitude. So equator is not passing through India, not even the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Equator lies south of Andaman and Nicobar because equator is 0 degree latitude. The last point of Andaman Nicobar was 6 degree 45 minutes north. Right? Okay. Here you have Arabian Sea. Here you have Bay of Bengal. And here you have Indian Ocean. Right? Now we are moving towards the analytical aspect of India's location. यहाँ तक तो there were just facts. ठीक है. Another एक और fact कर लेते हैं to make things easier. If we have to see the latitudes and we have to give names of the climatic regions to India. Okay. So see, India is starting, if we are moving from south to north, India is starting around 8 degree north. That is what this particular region will be equatorial in nature. ठीक है ना? Including this portion of Andaman and Nicobar also, and the southernmost India. This is equatorial climate. Then this particular location will be having tropical climate up to Tropic of Cancer. Okay. As you will move towards north of Tropic of Cancer, this particular region will be having subtropical climate, or you can also say warm temperate region. ठीक है. अब if we are able to understand these things, now our part begins. Why? All these things are relevant for other competitive exams also, like SSC or state PCS. कि भाई बताओ कि extent कितना है, 8 degree fourth है कि कितना degree north है, कितना degree south है. When it comes to UPSC, because we know that UPSC is a game of facts as well as analysis. Facts are also important. ऐसा नहीं करना है that UPSC is an analytical game, so अपने को concept सारे पता है, we are very good at analysis but we are not aware about the facts. Facts are equally important in UPSC prelims. You will see the questions which in prelims which are purely factual in nature, and sometimes you will feel कि ये तो और गिरा हुआ क्वेश्चन है जो एसएससी में आना था उससे भी ज्यादा. ठीक है. So there will be factual questions, facts are important. There will be conceptual questions, both the things are important. These are the facts. Now we'll enter into the analytical game, that now we'll do brainstorming. Everyone is comfortable with brainstorming, na? What is brainstorming? So I will ask you things and you will write down the random ideas which are coming to your mind with respect to that particular question on your page. ठीक है. Or so do I need to dictate these facts? या ये facts तो clear ही है ना? You people have drawn this thing? Yeah.
So can you please tell what is there near Gujarat?
This one.
Yes.
GHAUR. Gaur Moti, MOTI. Gaur Moti village. GHAUR. So this is the westernmost point of India.
And sir, on the top.
Indira Kol. INDIRA. My spelling mistake. Indira Kol. This is a peak. Take the screenshot if you want. Okay. Just 2-3 more facts. So when we see the expanse of India, like this is the longitudinal expanse and this is the latitudinal expanse. So the length of India is more than its breadth. अब देखो, when in general we say ना that UPSC में facts उतने important नहीं है, analysis important है, पहले तो I don't believe in it. Facts are also important, but you should be intelligent enough to understand that which type of facts are important. Okay. For example, when you will read NCERTs or any book, you will see that there will be the length mentioned in kilometers also. है ना कि भाई 3000 and this या 2900 and this kilometer of length and this 100 kilometers of breadth. What is more important here is that you need to understand the pattern. So it is not wise for you to learn the number of 100 kilometers of India's length or its coastline or anything. What is more important is to know that whether the length is more or the breadth is more. So length is more when it when it comes to the comparison with India's breadth, right? Second thing, are we aware about the terms like territorial limits and exclusive economic zone? Okay. So what is the territorial limit of India? Up to how much nautical miles? So what do we mean by territorial limits? Any country which is having a coastline, for example, here in India, you are having this coastline. So up to 12 nautical miles. This is the territorial waters of India. Okay. That means in these territorial waters, up to 12 nautical miles, 1 nautical mile is approximately equal to 1.8 kilometers. So around up to 22 kilometers from the coast of India across its entire coast, it is the territorial water of India. That means India has exclusive political as well as economic rights over these water. Let's say in these territorial waters, if some crime is committed, so the criminal will be tried as per the law of India. Okay, as per the Indian law. क्योंकि political as well as economic exclusive rights. When you move beyond 12 nautical miles, up to 200 nautical miles, 200 nautical miles from India's coast, it is what? EEZ, exclusive economic zone. In territorial waters, India was having exclusive economic as well as political rights. In EEZ, India has exclusive economic rights. That means if there are some resources in India's water up to 200 nautical miles from India's coast, India has exclusive right to dug out those resources. ठीक है. So now territorial limits EEZ, these things are also clear. ठीक है. In this, now the last part is what? The borders. Yes.
Can you repeat the exclusive economic zone?
Exclusive.
The area.
Exclusive economic zone EEZ up to 200 nautical miles from India's coast, India has exclusive economic rights. Other countries have right of passage. So this comes under the IR section. We are not going there. Okay. Other countries have right of passage, innocent passage through this water. If China's ship wants to pass through this exclusive economic zone of India, so it can pass, but it has to inform India. From territorial waters, so it cannot pass. Are you getting it?
Yes. And in territorial waters, we have
12 nautical miles. 12. Fine.
Yes, and we have political rights.
Political as well as economic. Matlab, treat that water as a part of your land. Okay. Now, coming to the bordering countries of India. Here you are having Pakistan. Is Afghanistan a bordering country of India or not? Why? यार लीगली और प्रैक्टिकली दोनों बोलो यार. अमित शाह है सेट, जान दे देंगे उसको वापस लेने के लिए. So Afghanistan is our bordering country. Okay, this is our official stand, and will be standing by it. Okay. So it is illegally occupied by Pakistan, but because when you see the India's official map, so this is India's official map, na. Otherwise, तो I would have drawn India's map like this only. फिर तो ना हमारे पास ये है ना हमारे पास ये है. Right? So Afghanistan, so there is a Wakhan corridor through which Afghanistan and India is connected. Right? So Pakistan, Afghanistan. Here you are having China. Here you are having Nepal. Here you are having Bhutan. Here you are having Myanmar. Here you are having Bangladesh. So now tell me, how many border countries India has? India has how many border countries? Number. बोलो. How many? 9. कोई और? ऐसा मत समझो कि ये बहुत ही बेसिक क्वेश्चन है. फर्स्ट आंसर, then I will tell you that whether this question is based. हाँ. So when I ask you a question that how many bordering countries India has, you have to counter question me whether we are talking about land borders or the sea borders also. For example, these are the land border countries of India. So here you are having Sri Lanka also. So, but Sri Lanka does not share any land border with India, but Sri Lanka shares the sea border, water border with India. Right? Here you are having Maldives also. Okay. So that is why in general we say we talk only about the land borders in general. ठीक है, ये क्लियर है ना. So land border countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh. चलें आगे. अब now will brainstorm. Yeah, please.
Including water, we have 9.
Including sea as well as land. Yeah. Okay. चलें आगे. Okay. Now you have to brainstorm few things. Okay, I'll ask you few questions. Now we have, because understood the size, the extent as well as location of India. Now you have to tell me, uh, yeah, the significance. Significance of size, extent, and location of India. I'm giving you 1 minute. Just write down all the things which are coming to your mind on the page, and then we'll see. Okay, the time starts now. Yes, done. Chalo, just tell me few points. Tell me the points.
Sir, India has monsoon type of climate.
Okay. So, what is the significance of extent, location, or size of India?
Sir, India has a huge coastal line, so it will help it will be helpful for us if we have to export things. We can construct ports and fishing activities.
Right.
It will also net for
Correct.
us. And
Yes.
as well as other neighbors like Pakistan, they have entered India via.
So, it is it a significance?
Yes, it becomes significant for our security reasons.
Right. So, monsoon climate, someone said, because India is located in the tropical area, so obviously it has got its monsoon type of climate. Or batao?
No, sir, farthest points.
Huh?
The farthest points, north, east, south, and east.
So, what is the significance?
So to give the factual touch to your question.
नहीं, कोई टच की जरूरत नहीं है.
Can also us in future because due to climate change, we can also export things via can go to Russia and export things via that region.
मतलब Arctic will melt and then we'll move towards Russia and then we'll transport the thing. So why can't we use our Indian Ocean, which is already melted? Why to go to Siberia and Arctic region?
Sir, because economically,
Because the route that is the
Be-
connects very few countries, while the other route like taking to the Antarctica, we connect to very a larger number of countries. So the import and export would be more.
So Arctic, the significance of Arctic melting for India, the primary significance is not trade for India. The primary significance of Arctic melting for India in economic perspective is extraction of natural gas. Okay. For trade, from the trade perspective, it is more relevant for Russia. So that is why when you read history, is world history done? Okay. So in world history, when you will be reading about the world wars, So there you will see that since ages, Russia has been following the warm water policy, because this was the challenge with Russia, because Russia was not having any warm water. It was all frozen across its border, so it could not trade. That is why Russia was always in the need of the tropical countries. One of the reasons that why Russia and India are such good friends. Okay, so that is why for navigation from the trade perspective, it is highly significant for Russia. It is significant for China also. From Indian perspective, extraction of natural gas and other fossil fuels might be true, but again वो भी बहुत दूर की बात है अभी. Okay, right? Kashish is saying India being a tropical country gets ample of sunlight, so beneficial for solar power generation, right? Or
Sir, it tells us about the political and economic boundaries which help us to claim for our integrity and sovereignty.
how?
Sir, because if any country will attack, so we can give the reason that it is beyond our integrity and sovereignty, so it cannot attack like something.
Okay, देखो the yes. Okay. So when I am asking you a question, diverse biodiversity, Karishma is saying very good point. Vani. So when I am asking you a question, significance of extent, size, and location of India, the core of this question is what? That India is a large country. How is it beneficial for India? Okay. Your point will be true for any country, whether it is a small country or a large country, because country by definition is the geographical entity which is having a political boundaries and sovereignty. So let's say if it is a smaller country, even that country has its integrity. Okay, so the core or the crux of the question is what? That India is big and it is located in a particular range of latitudes. How is this beneficial for India? This is the question.
Northern part of India receives the tropical vegetation.
Yeah. So significance.
Basically, not receives rainfall in the winter season.
Right. See, total you are 45 students. So कम से कम there should be 45 points. ठीक है. अगर सब मिलके भी सिर्फ 4-5 पॉइंट पे आ रहे हो तो is there some sort of disturbance? Some voice is coming? वो actually एक बारात procession is going, so very loud music is there, crossing the limits of 160 decibels, entering into the environmental pollution limits. So just give me few minutes because I am not able to hear you people. Okay. Acha, so let me speak. Now, how you people have to develop the brainstorming capabilities. So when we say that your answer has to be multidimensional, there has to be a interlinkages between different topics, between different subtopics and subjects. All this gyan basically leads practically to what? How you have to do this? Always follow this syllabus approach. Okay, in your head, just revise the syllabus of entire UPSC mains and try to link that syllabus with the question which is asked to you. You will find ample number of points, you will find multidimensional points, and there will not be repetition also. एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे अब चलते हैं, देखते हैं. जनरल स्टडीज पेपर 1 सेक्शन 1 हिस्ट्री. So is there any historical significance of India's size, extent and location? Historically, why was it so that Indian civilization, be it the Harappan civilization or the Vedic civilization, gained so much of prominence in the world history? right? So that means we had the capability of ports, we had better climate, we had fertile soils, we had river waters, perennial rivers. So when you see the ancient civilizations, for example, in India you had Harappan and Vedic civilizations. Contemporary Harappan civilization, you had Mesopotamian civilization, you had Roman civilization. All these great civilizations must be having something in common, na? At that point of time, because technology was not that developed, so there has to be natural resources. In present times, yes, technology has gained prominence, but at that point of time, natural resources were the only determining factors, right? Natural resources are the direct outcome of the location of any geographical unit, right? So was there a historical significance? Yes, there was a historical significance. Civilizations have developed, cultures have developed, right? From history, now second section is society, general studies paper 1. So what is the social significance? Because India is a large country, that means India has huge population. Okay, now huge population of India is a merit as well as a demerit also. Merit because it gives you a lot of what? Workforce. Because you are having a lot of population, it gives you a lot of cultures, you have a lot of cultural diversity, right? We talk about ह्यूमन कैपिटल, ये सब सोसाइटल एलिमेंट्स हैं, पॉपुलेशन, कल्चर एक्सेट्रा. नाउ द थर्ड पार्ट इज व्हाट? ज्योग्राफी. So when we talk about geography, what is the geographical significance of India's size, extent, location? Now come up with all these points. One, you said climate, monsoonal climate, as well as the climatic diversity. Why? If there would not have been a huge latitudinal extent of India, if India would not be having large latitudinal extent, then there would not have been variations in the climate. We saw na in the previous slide, here you are having equatorial, then you are having tropical, and then you are having subtropical and the warm temperate. Why? Because huge latitudinal extent, right? Then you have huge landforms. So the countries in general which are having a very small size, so obviously they will be having less number of landforms. In India, you find almost every type of landform. You have young folded mountains, you have old folded mountains, you have block mountains, you have rift valleys, you have plateaus, you have coasts, you have deserts, everything is there, and oceans also, right? Plains, great northern plains. So you have a lot of landforms. Then presence of huge large number of resources, because resources natural are the direct outcomes of geology, structure, process and time. तो वो भी है हमारे पास. Basically see, ऐसा नहीं है, these points are not very much intellectual कि हाँ कुछ बहुत rocket science आ गया. The only thing my job is to tell you that if you have to think about multiple dimensions, what should be the flow. The flow is given to you by UPSC syllabus. जैसे कि let's say moving towards general studies paper 2 polity. So because in polity, when you will do polity, you will get to know that why India came up with one decentralized system, decentralized political system, why India chose to have a federal setup, so many states, because India is a large country. So if it is a large country, you have to administer a large province, then obviously you need to give some amount of autonomy. Now linking this with the history because it has been covered by you. Medieval history हो गया है, एंशिएंट medieval भी हो गया है, only अच्छा कुछ का हुआ है कुछ का नहीं हुआ है. Okay, so it has been seen all the successful empires in India, be it the Mauryan Empire, be it the British Empire, or be it the Mughal Empire or the Gupta Empire, the large empires in India we are talking about. All these empires were successful because of many reasons. One of the most important reason was because they claimed a large amount of territory, they gave significant amount of autonomy also. Because when you are the sole leader of a large area, you cannot control everything. That is why you need to develop hierarchies. So there is a president, there is a prime minister, there are council of ministers, there is governor, then there are Supreme Court judges, then the chief cabinet ministers of the state. Then you come to the district level, panchayat level, block level. So there has to be hierarchy. So large size of India has led to the development of political setup in India. That's kind of setup which we are having from General Studies paper 2. In General Studies paper 2, you also have the IR section. India is a large country. By virtue of this, India shares huge borders with several countries. If India is sharing a large number of borders, then obviously it can have a better relations with these countries. वो है नहीं हमारे पास, वो एक अलग बात है. But it gives you a potential. Because amongst all these countries in the South Asia, India is the largest country which has helped India to gain the big brother image. Now, big brother image is a negative connotation when you go into the diplomacy. Okay, try to understand this. Big brother is basically telling you or signifying that whatever is happening in the South Asian region, it is just because of India, which is true. लेकिन ये हम कहते नहीं है because we have denied this image. Why? Because we respect other countries' integrity, sovereignty also, right? So what we can say that India has a strong presence and stand in the politics of the South Asian region. Why? Because India is a larger country. Getting it? When you move towards General Studies mains paper 3, here you are having the section of environment. So someone wrote a very good point that because India is having such a huge extent, climatic diversity is there, physiographic diversity is there, cultural diversity is there. So biological diversity is also there, na? So biodiversity, natural vegetation. Because of the location of India only, you will get thorny forests, mountainous forest, coral reefs, mangroves, shola forests. Similarly, you will get a lot of soil types also. Black soil, red soil, alluvial soil. Why? Because of the location only. Are you getting it? अब GS4 हम ethics पे नहीं जाएंगे, वो इतना भी ज्यादा इंटरलिंक नहीं करना है, ठीक है? So the thing is that is how you can come up with a lot of multidimensional points. Once we are done with the significance, अब second part इसका, what are the demerits of size and location of India? What are the demerits? Think about it.
So because of subtropical high pressure belt, the western part do not receive ample amount of rainfall and desert.
हाँ, अब यार देखो, the point is perfectly correct. मतलब I wanted to come to this thing in later classes, लेकिन अब because you have given a point, so we'll discuss it. So when we write answers or when we brainstorm a lot of things, there are two things. One is obviously there has to be a multidimensionality. Second is the prioritization of points. Which point should come first, second, third, and fourth? So this point is absolutely correct, but it should not be the first point. Why? I give you a reason. if you are saying that because the western part of India is having a subtropical high pressure area because of which there is no precipitation, hence no vegetation, no water, etc., this is a challenge, right? But here you have picked up a micro area of India. The question is asking you about the size location, the entire India. Ki bhai, India's entire size, how this is a challenge for India. Okay, so priority points should be those points which are catering to the entire India, not a specific locations. Specific locations can be the example. For example, if I have to reframe your point, I would say that because of the large size, India faces extremes of climate. That is the desert in the western part, excessive rainfall in the northeastern part, which is a challenge. Are you getting it? So whenever you are framing the points, na, देखो यार क्या है, this is a common experience amongst all the teachers and the UPSC aspirants. After reaching a certain stage, all of you will be having the same amount of information. This is the reality of the exam. Your marks will be dependent on the fact that how are you presenting that information on the paper. ठीक है, तो framing of point is important. So point के अंदर there should be a picture that you are taking the entire India. If you are talking about the desert, in the same point you should give the example of the excessive rainfall. Okay. So one first, let's say, point is administration. Yes, we know because of large size you have federal units, but then there are challenges to administer a larger area ना. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि सब बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है. So this is not the case. Because someone wrote the point difficult, yeah, border from the security angle. So you have large borders. So obviously land borders as well as the sea borders. Right? So we have Hurriyats, we have Kasabs, land borders as well as the sea borders. Right? Someone wrote, this point is also good. Yes, because you are having a lot of cultural diversity, but then this also leads to various conflicts. Right? Regional disparities, very good point. So basically this is the outcome of administration. Regional disparities are there. So we can club these points. Let's say basically we are talking about regionalism, sectarianism, conflicts on the basis of caste, religion, etc. Right? Then because India is having such a large state, long coastline, extremes of climate, so the disaster vulnerability of India also increases. So if let's say if I draw the rough India's map, and if I have to map the India's disaster profile, so see, this particular region is prone to earthquakes. This particular region, along with earthquakes, is prone to avalanche. This region is prone to glacial lake outburst floods. Do we know this term? GLOF, glacial lake outburst flood. We will be dealing these things in disaster management classes also. Glacial lake outburst. So lake got bursted. The lake was formed because of the glacier melting. So there was a lake, a boundary in between which there was a water. Because of some factor, that boundary is broken and all the water is released. So glacial lake outburst leading to flood is known as GLOF. Sikkim floods, right, Aritra? Right? Yeah, I'm coming to this. Here you are having landslides. Here you are having cloud burst. सब होगा इंडिया में. Here you are having cyclones. Here you are having droughts. Here you are having torrential rainfalls. Here you are having floods. Because India is located in close proximity to the convergent boundaries, here you have the convergence of Indo-Australian plate and the microplates like Sumatran plate. So there is a convergence going on. Tsunami can only occur in the region where there is a vertical displacement of the ocean floor. Okay. So the ocean, now just imagine this thing. So let's say tomorrow you hold a bucket full of water. Okay. And you shake the bucket. You are shaking it. But the bucket should remain on the ground. No matter how much you shake, there will be minor disturbances, but the water will not flow. Okay, some water might spill out, but it will not flow. You tilt the bucket and then you leave the bucket. So when you will tilt the bucket and you will leave the bucket, water will try to regain and then there will be the outflow of the water. Okay. Tsunami requires massive energy that there has to be this tilting of bucket. This tilting of bucket in technical language, we will say that there has to be a vertical motion of the bucket. In case of tsunami, there has to be a vertical motion of the ocean floor. So let's say this is the ocean floor. When it will be vertically moved and it will try to regain its position, the water, the ocean water will move in different direction, and hence it will create tsunami. Now this vertical change or the vertical motion of the sea floor can only take place when there is a convergent type of boundaries. Okay, because convergent type of boundaries has so much energy that it can displace it. So because here we are having convergent boundaries, hence you are having tsunamis also. So this is our India. Okay. And then we say that why India is not a developed country like US. One of the reasons is this. Leave aside US. You divide India in two equal halves. You divide India like this. This is the western portion, this is the eastern portion. Relatively western portion is more developed na. You have Maharashtra, you have Gujarat, you have Karnataka, you have Kerala, this entire region. Western portion is relatively more developed. In eastern India, you have northeast India, you have Bihar, you have Chhattisgarh, you have Jharkhand, you have Odisha. Okay, so poor states. One of the reasons is that this eastern India face a lot of multiple complex disasters. For example, cyclones. India's eastern coast is more vulnerable to cyclones. Western coast पे India has less number of cyclones. Climate change की वजह से अब होने लग गया है. Otherwise, the ratio of the frequency of the cyclones in Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea is 5:1. So let's say if there is one cyclone in the Arabian Sea, there will be 5 cyclones in the Bay of Bengal. So that is why eastern coast becomes more vulnerable. So bhai, eastern India has a lot of other challenges which they need to cope up, and that is one of the reasons for their backwardness. Other reasons bhi aayenge. Same is true with developing countries as well as developed countries. Now see how geography, how beautiful geography plays its role in determining the developmental status of different countries. If let's say on a rough basis, if this is the world map, this is African region, this is Arabian Peninsula, India, Southeast Asia, right? This is Europe, this is Australia, South America, this is California, North America, Alaskan region. So let's say this is the rough world map. Is it visible now to everyone? This one? दिख रहा है सबको? Visible है? Okay. So when we talk about the developed countries versus developing countries, we see a thing that if you draw a rough line like in this manner, the northern countries are the relatively developed one. You have North America here, you have Canada here, you have France, Germany, Scandinavian countries here, then you have Russia there, global north versus global south, right? And you will see that most of the countries which are developing as well as the LDCs, that is least developed countries, are basically lying in the tropical region. See this region. This is Tropic of Cancer, Equator, Tropic of Capricorn. So now this is the region, the tropical region that most of the LDCs are falling into. Why? One of the reasons, because we are linking it with the disasters in the climate. The climatic variability of tropical countries are way higher than the climatic vulnerability of the temperate countries, because tropical climatology is still not understood. आप लोगों को climatology हो चुका है. So in climatology you must have gone through the theory of the formation of temperate cyclones. Okay, you remember formation of fronts. So first there is a stationary front, then the air masses intrude into each other's territory. Cold front is formed, warm front is formed depending on the dominance of which type of air mass. Then there is an occlusion of front. याद है ना? हाँ, तो एक्सप्रेशन भी दो साथ में. Okay, so for temperate cyclones you had a theory. Did you read any theory for the formation of tropical cyclones? No, because there is no theory. For tropical cyclones you just have read about the conditions responsible for the formation of tropical cyclones. 28 degrees Celsius of water has to be there, Coriolis force has to be there, warm water, continuous supply of moisture has to be there, heat engine has to be there. So you just read about the formation conditions, no theory, क्योंकि है ही नहीं अभी तक. Why? ट्रॉपिकल मीटरोलॉजी इज मोर कॉम्प्लेक्स कंपेयर टू टेम्परेट मीटरोलॉजी. तो हमें पता ही नहीं है कि हमारी मीटरोलॉजी में क्या हो रहा है, कौन सा डिजास्टर कल आने वाला है. हाउ विल वी डेवलप? Okay, are you getting it? So role of geography in the developmental levels across the world, across India also. That is why one of the point we wrote here na, regional disparity. So this is a regional disparity within India, across the world. ठीक है. So these are the challenges. Clear है? Now we shall be discussing the last question from this topic, which is actually a PYQ asked in 2021. Okay. So the question was in relation to that, why India is considered a subcontinent. Try to brainstorm on this thing. Take 1 minute, write down the points. Asked in 2021. Brainstorm. First, brainstorm. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Tell me some points.
Has huge latitudinal extent,
Yeah.
and the topography of India is vast.
Huge size.
It has plains, plateau,
Very topography.
mountains,
Right. Very topography. Multiple
cultural
landforms.
diversity. It is like mini Europe.
Mini Europe. What did you
Like
say?
European countries have huge diversity. Similarly, there is it is an entire continent, but in our country,
So why did we compare India with Europe? That it is like a mini Europe. Why not saying Europe is like mini India?
colonialism.
Colonial mindset. Okay. Yeah. Topography, cultural diversity, large population, varying climate. Yeah.
Logical biodiversity.
Correct. Biodiversity. Or
Sir, much like other larger continents, India occupies a whole tectonic plate on its own.
correct. So this is known as geological unity. देखो. Now, obviously the points will remain same. देखो जब मैं पहले भी बोला है, it is not about the dish, it is about how that dish is being presented, or first of all how that dish has been thought. ठीक है? Because my purpose is only to develop the thinking capabilities. इसको अगर हम, if we have to think about this question in general, we'll come to all these points यही रहेंगे सारे, but we'll move to these points with the help of a concept. ठीक है? Concept is asking you why India is considered a subcontinent. Subcontinent is basically what it is, a type of a region na. Continent is what it is, a region. Delhi is a region. So subcontinent is also a region, maybe different in size etc. ठीक है? पहले हम ये समझते हैं, what do we mean by a region? What is a region? How will we identify that this is a particular type of region? कैसे पता लगेगा? So that region, one, will be having some form of homogeneity within. Homogeneity within. For example, if I am telling you that this particular region is an industrial region, that means what? Everything in that region is industrial, is having an industrial perspective. If I am telling you that this particular region is agricultural region, that means what? Agriculture के around सारी चीजें घूम रही हैं. So it is having a homogeneity within. Uniformity है. A lot of agriculture. For example, if I am telling you that this is a political region, that means what? Polity के around सारी चीजें घूम रही हैं. Are you getting it? So when you, agar if there is some place which is having agriculture also, which is having industry also, which is having this also, which is having that also, that will be a mixed region, not a conventional region. ये समझ में आया? So a region has to have a homogeneity within, and it has to be different from others. तभी तो that will be a region. भाई, for example, let's say if this is India and I am saying identify the Chota Nagpur region in India. So you will say that this is a Chota Nagpur region in India, right? So now this Chota Nagpur region will be having homogeneity, uniformity within this, because this is a Chota Nagpur plateau, a uniform physiographic region, and it is different from the rest of the India. That is how you were able to identify other. If this would have been same to the India, तो फिर कैसे पता था कि this is a sub region or not? समझ आ रहा है ना ये? So that means whenever you have to identify a region, so there has to be some element of homogeneity within, which is a unifying factor which will unify a region, and some form of heterogeneity from the external world, which will delineate that particular region from the rest of the world. Now, when we talk about the subcontinent, India as a subcontinent. So similarly, now this concept will flow in this question also. If we have to talk about India as a subcontinent, that means we have to come up with some points which are uniform within India. For example, you said monsoonal climate. So in general, India has a monsoonal climate, which is a unifying factor in India. So that is why India is a region. Second, it should be different from others. तो यहाँ पे delineation भी होना चाहिए. That what is it in India which is different from others? So there will be some boundaries. For example, Himalayas in the north and northeast, Hindu Kush in the northwest, Indian Ocean in the south. This basically is delineating this particular region from rest of the Asia. So there is a delineation factor also. And because we are talking about this subcontinent as a region, so there has to be the characteristics of the continent. That means whatever things or whatever characteristics a continent has, all those characteristics should be present in India also. ये तीन चीजें होनी चाहिए. If these three criteria are met and you are able to find out the points out of these three dimensions, then you can prove it that India itself is a subcontinent. जैसे कि अब हम बात करते हैं. First, India has a vast size. Now points will remain same. मैंने पहले ही बोला. Now we'll see that how the concept and the random points in your head they interlink. Okay. So the first thing is you said that India has a vast size. So continents are vast in size. So India has a vast size. Hence, India is a subcontinent. Now, because vast size, so India has a lot of population and lot of other things which you can write on your own. Okay. So India has a large size, which is a continent. India is the 7th largest country. India has a long coastline, largest population. अब तो largest हो गया है चाइना के बाद. मतलब चाइना के बाद क्या मतलब we are the first one. We have surpassed China. ठीक है. Borders with multiple countries, 3,000 kilometers of length and breadth. All the factual information which we discussed in the initial of this class. Okay. All those things will be the part of the vast size. Then if we have to talk about the delineation, so you have distinct boundaries also, right? Here you are having Himalayas, here you are having Hindu Kush, here you are having Indian Ocean, here you are having Arakan Yoma range. ये सारी हम करेंगे अभी. When will next session we'll be doing the physiography of India, so there we'll do with this. ठीक है. So ये भी clear हो गया. So it has distinctive boundaries also. Someone said this point, plate geological unity. Remember the names of the plate. So you have Australian plate, you have North American plate, you have South American plate, African plate, you have Eurasian plate. So basically plates are named on the basis of the continents, or the continents are named on the basis of plates, vice versa जैसा भी है. Similarly, you are having Indian plate also. So when there was a split of the Gondwana land and Indo-Australian plate started to drift towards the Eurasian plate. Now the micro plate is known as the Indian plate, and here you are having the Australian plate also. Major plate is Indo-Australian plate, that is true. But because we are having the geological unity, entire India is formed on one plate. That means you have geological unity. So you have India has its own distinct plate also. We also discussed about the monsoon type of climate, a unifying factor, right? Characteristics of the continent. Continent has what? Huge population. It has huge varieties of culture. It has huge economic strength. All those things. Okay. We have diversity. We have diversity of what? Vegetation, biological, different types of forests, different types of agricultural crops, different types of these things. So we have diversity, right? Then India is also having some historical factors are also there. Okay. Now this is also an interesting point. Some of the geographers say that India is also considered as a subcontinent because since the historical times, the land south of Indus was known as Hindus. The derivation of this term Hindus, there are several sources which identify that this word has been derived from this thing, and that thing. One of those sources is the river Indus, which is the most authentic one. So, so if this is India, this is Pakistan, this is Afghanistan, and river Indus flows like this. So here you are having different tributaries, Beas, Satluj, and etc. This is the major Indus basin. The Harappan civilization, also known as Indus Valley civilization. So the people which were living in the Central Asian region, they said that the people who are living south of Indus River will be, that time Indus was known as Sindhu. So those people will be known as Hindus. So this is not a religious word in this sense, this is a geographical word. People living south of Indus River will be Hindus. Now this word is showing what? It is showing a cultural unity also. Not just the cultural diversity, but the cultural unity. And unity is basically a unifying factor of the region. Right? Are you getting it? So the thing is that if the people are saying that there is a cultural unity, that means they are identifying this whole of geographical unit as a one entire region, hence proving the fact that India itself is a region. So all these points, now what happens is, when this question came for the first time in the examination and when we talked to the students, they wrote the answer, not because question तो difficult है नहीं, they wrote the answer, but what they forgot was that they kept on writing only about the geographical points, that there is a vast size, there are multiple landforms, there is a monsoonal climate, diversity, distinctive boundaries. They tend to forgot about what? The cultural aspect, the historical aspect. Okay, डाइवर्सिटी इन दिस बायोडाइवर्सिटी, वेजिटेशन, ये वाले पॉइंट्स रह जाते हैं. क्यों रह जाते हैं? सपोज इफ आई आस्क यू अ क्वेश्चन, ओके, तो मैं एक क्वेश्चन पूछ ही लेता हूं एंड देन विल वाइंड अप द सेशन. So you people have done physical geography. Okay, so let's say if I ask you a question, let's say I'll write. Generally we do these type of things in the QIP classes. Has anyone of you seen the QIP classes of now? अभी किसी ने नहीं देखा है ना? ठीक है. So if I ask you a question that enlist the geographical factors, you just have to tell me geographical factors, मुझे और कोई factors नहीं चाहिए. Enlist the geographical factors responsible for better development of fisheries in where fisheries are better developed, in which regions?
East coast of India.
Not in India, across the world.
Sir, we have cold current and warm current mixes.
Correct. So which are those regions?
The Grand Banks region,
Correct. So can I say that east coast of US or east coast of Japan or west coast of northwestern Europe? ठीक है ना, मतलब कि so this is the region we are talking about. Okay, these are the three regions we are talking about. So now enlist, just tell me the geographical, सिर्फ geographically चाहिए. First point is already been made that because there is a mixture of cold and warm ocean currents, because when there is a mixing of cold ocean currents and warm ocean currents, there are relatively moderate conditions. You find the presence of phytoplanktons over there, and hence you find the presence of fisheries over there. Also, the cold currents bring a lot of nutrients from the bottom towards the surface, and these nutrients again are responsible for the formation of these phytoplankton and fishes. ठीक है, first point is then. Second point, someone said continental shelf. These areas are having relatively broader continental shelf. Can someone tell me what is the reason why these areas are having broader continental shelf? Anyone?
so basically it is formed. Basically, it is formed due to the basically sediments that form of the sea. So, and
No, no. Okay, hint. Answer lies in the plate tectonics theory.
But they are mostly of divergent boundaries.
हाँ, not the divergent boundary, because divergence तो देखो यहाँ हो रहा है. They are relatively passive margins. We call them as passive boundaries. क्योंकि यहाँ पे there is no activity. So convergence is taking place over here. So that is why we say that whenever there is a convergent boundary, you will be having what? Young folded mountains. And because the convergence was going on, so the shelf was being broken, and hence there will not be broader shelf. है ना? Because there is a convergence going on. In these areas, there is no convergence. So that is why they have relatively broader formation of the continental shelves. अच्छा, अब इसी का exception आता है एक. India. In India, this western coast, the continental shelves across the western coast is relatively what? Broad. Now, from this information, if there is a convergence going on, that means there will be the formation of young folded mountains. सही है? And we also know that if there are young folded mountains, so there will not be broad continental shelf. ये बात भी सही है. How come in India you are having here broad continental shelf as well as the mountains also? Western Ghats. बहुत ही सिंपल क्वेश्चन है. Because Western Ghats are not young fold mountains. This rule is true that when in the coastal areas, if you are having the mountains, the continental shelves will be narrower. This rule is true only when there are young folded mountains, because young folded mountains only will prove the fact that there is a ongoing convergence. ठीक है, ये याद रखना है. हम ये बाद में भी करेंगे, बट बिकॉज वी हैव डिस्कस दिस थिंग, तो अभी बता दिया मैंने. बाद में इसको ऑर्गेनाइज तरीके से करेंगे. ओके, या कमिंग टू दिस थर्ड ज्योग्राफिकल फैक्टर.
salinity of water.
Salinity मतलब वो इसी का ही आउटकम ही है बेसिकली. कोल्ड एंड वार्म करंट आर मिक्सिंग, सो कोल्ड करंट इज हैविंग लेस सैलिनिटी. अब वो कान ऐसे पकड़ो या ऐसे पकड़ो, दैट इज द आउटकम ऑफ दैट पॉइंट. या temperature of water, again the outcome of cold current and warm current. तो दो ही पॉइंट्स लिखने हैं.
So maybe absence of cyclones or
Cyclones are there, temperate cyclones are there.
So it is not necessary that all the cold currents have higher salinity, like the ones coming from the melting of ice.
Cold currents have lower salinity, not high.
What if a cold current is coming from the deep flow, like upward in upward direction? It has more salinity.
So that is why when we talk about the currents, so here we are just referring ourselves to the surface currents, not the bottom ocean currents. Okay. Even if we have to talk about the bottom ocean currents, so basically अब वो क्योंकि वो GS का पार्ट नहीं है, but UPSC has asked the question. ठीक है. UPSC asked the question related to the concept of water mass. So water mass basically was the deep ocean currents. होता क्या है कि you have read about deep ocean currents, thermoline circulations. Have you? Okay. So in the higher latitudes, there is a ice flux, because of which there is a freezing of water and the salt has remained in the ocean. So ice is formed, salt is in the ocean. In the higher latitude, temperature is less, the water is cold. Water is cold, that means the density will increase. Cold water density increases, and because the salt is also present, so higher salinity further increases the density. So what happens that in the upper latitude areas, let's say in the North Atlantic area here, the water is cold, which means the density is increased. The water also has the presence of salt, which again is increasing the density. So this dense water will sink down. This is known as what? North Atlantic deep water mass. This North Atlantic deep water mass will sink down. So now this is true that the water which is going down is cold and is having a higher salinity. ठीक बात. But when this starts moving from this northern towards the equatorial area and it tries to come up, so there it loses its density. That is how only it can come up. It will become lighter. Okay. So in this case, you can say that the cold ocean current is having higher salinity also. But here in general, when we are talking about this particular thing, so we are just referring ourselves to the surface currents, not the deep currents. Okay. Until and unless specifically mentioned deep currents, if there is we are writing and talking ocean current, that means we are just talking about the surface currents. ठीक है. और factor बताओ. So we are not going to write only 2 points in answer यार. Come on. फंसा दिया है मैंने. ऐसे मत करो. अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ प्लैंकटन फोटिक जोन, ठीक है, वो सब उसी के आउटकम्स हैं यार. देखो, वी स्टार्टेड दिस, इफ आई हैव आस्क्ड दिस क्वेश्चन, so this question is just the continuation or discussion which we were having in this particular question na. So try to establish the link. I said that the students, when they attempted this question in the mains, so they write the answer, they wrote the answer, they wrote the points, but somehow they missed the points related to the culture, history, population, etc. Okay, so let's say if I write, just a minute. Yeah. Now, if I write the third point as presence of higher capital, is this point true or not? presence of technology. Is this point true or not?
So many of these fishing banks were famous even before they had much technology or capital.
Fishing industrial regions were developed when industrial revolution started. So these regions are having better industrial regions, better industrial setups compared to the rest of the countries. तो ये वाले points क्यों नहीं बोले हैं अभी आपने? Why you people didn't tell me these points, the general points?
So you asked us to focus on geographical factors.
Correct. Now going to the first slide, that why I showed you this thing, the syllabus. अब वो कह सकते हो आप that this slide was not visible because there was a glaring effect, but we discussed this thing that when UPSC is writing the factors responsible for the location of industries in the geography syllabus, that means all these factors are also geography, na? Who said that geography is only physical in nature? We know that geography is physical as well as human geography. Everything, whatever you talk about, is a geography. Geography is not only the earth, landforms, mountains, valley, rivers, plateaus, etc. Geography is also the vegetation. Geography is also the population. Geography is also the culture. So, and ये जो word है geographical factor, ये ऐसे ही है बस. So when you have to write the geographical factors, you have to write all the factors. That is a different thing that when you come to the prioritization of points, so try to first write the factors from physical geography and then come to the factors of human geography. ठीक है, समझ में आ रहा है? So this is the first important learning for you people, that when someone tells you that tell me the geographical factors, so tell them the physical geographical as well as human geographical factors also. Okay. So that's it from my side. If you people have some doubts, you can ask me. I am here. I am giving you people my number also. Nine 9465374125. So you can WhatsApp me also. My name is Gaurav Tripathi. So you can WhatsApp me also. I'll try to answer there also. ये हो सकता है कि immediately मैं respond ना करूं, तो मतलब ऐसा एकदम आतुर मत हो जाना. So I'll reply. Okay. Yeah. And you can ask your doubts now also. I am here. Those who want to leave, they can leave. Yeah.
Regarding the previous question that you just said about geographical factors.
Yeah.
So it's a genuine question. Even before the advent of much capital or technology, these fishing banks were quite developed. The Japanese have been eating fish for centuries.
We are also been eating fishes for centuries. इंडिया भी तो फिश ईटिंग कल्चर तो इंडिया में जब से इंडिया तब से है, तो जापान में भी है. दैट अगेन, so when we are discussing the question that enlist the geographical factors which have made these regions superior than the other in the context of fisheries, so that is mean we are comparing these regions with the other regions in the contemporary times. The crux is what, कि भाई यहाँ पे इतना डेवलप क्यों हो गया, है ना? Fishing culture, for example, one important physical reason is also the temperate climate. So in India, if we have to compare this with India, India is having a tropical climate. Now, tropical climate is known to have higher diversity. ठीक है? So when it comes to the variety of fishes, India will be having more variety of fishes compared to US. But when we take it to the commercial aspect, that is fisheries as industries, तो देखो commercialization discourages diversity और diversity discourages commercialization. अगर commercialization में जाना है ना, तो you need to have one species at a large scale. So in tropical areas, you will be having a lot of diverse variety of fishes, but it will not be commercially developed. ठीक है, क्योंकि यू विल थ्रो योर नेट और उस नेट के अंदर देर इज अ वैरायटी ए फिश, वैरायटी बी फिश, वैरायटी सी फिश. अब बेचने किसको जाओगे? एक एक तो बेचोगे नहीं सबको. On the contrary, in the temperate area, diversity is less and mono thing is more. So you will throw the net, you will have 3 fishes of same variety and then you can export. कि भाई देखो मैं ये variety of fish export कर रहा हूं. That is my specialization. Same is the reason that why not just fisheries, why lumbering industry is more developed in the developed countries, in the US, not in India or tropical countries, because temperate weather. So same species is more over there. So if you want to have a specific type of wood, go to that region, you'll have that wood only. Now this is the second point when we talk that starting may we discuss na that why the temperate countries are more developed and tropical countries are less developed. So there one factor we developed because tropical meteorology is so complex that there are highly vulnerable to disasters. Second point, tropical climate is also known to have more diversity which discourages commercialization. भाई एग्रीकल्चर के अंदर why we are moving towards monocropping and not crop diversification? If we are planting sugar cane तो वो sugar cane ही चलता जा रहा है. If we are planting wheat तो wheat ही wheat है. If we are planting rice तो rice ही rice है. Because commercialization requires one variety, one species. Monocropping. ठीक है, समझ में आया? Yes, next question. Okay, so that's it, I guess. Okay, thank you everyone. We'll meet tomorrow. All the very best.